Hey, how's it, friends? Mr. Schlenker here. I'm going to start today by asking you a question. I'm going to stash you a question. What's the difference between an essay that stinks and one that changes the world, or at least has the potential to change the world? A strong conclusion. Yeah. Look at this little dude. So rugged. Love it. So we're going to talk today about writing a good conclusion for your essay. And really, for any essay. So I want you to think about this when it comes to the conclusion. So what? So you just wrote this whole essay. The reader just read through your whole essay. You probably spent a long time writing it. So your conclusion needs to be very strong and needs to answer the question, so what? So what did I gain from reading this essay? What was I supposed to learn from you, the writer, in reading your writing in your work? And so if you think about the so what, then you should be able to be successful with a conclusion. So the best way to get this across to your reader is to organize your essay, organize your conclusion in 4 parts. You want to start with a transition to close. And this will tell the reader that you're coming to an end, that your essay is coming to an end, and you're starting to wrap up your main ideas. Then you want to restate the thesis. Now you've stated the thesis in the beginning, at the end of your introduction, but now you want to restate it, and it's going to sound different at the end because you have just proven and written so much about that thesis. And so it shouldn't be exactly the same in the end, in the conclusion, as it was in the introduction. And I'll show you what I mean in a minute. Next, what you want to do is you want to remind the reader of your subtopics. Now, the subtopics are really the meat and the evidence of your essay. This is where you really proved the thesis. So you want to remind the reader of those subtopics. So when they're reading that conclusion, they go, oh yeah, that's right. That's right, that's right. Good call. And finally, and the most important part of the conclusion is this final thought. Leave the reader with something that really gets them thinking. So when they put down your essay, they continue thinking about what they just read. So they look down and go, wow, that was something. And that's how you want to end your essay. So if you're using the outline, and obviously I suggest that you use the outline, that's what it's there for, it looks like this for your conclusion. Transition to close, restate thesis, remind reader of subtopics, and your final thought. So same thing, the same parts that we just talked about a second ago. Now what I did for this video is instead of having me type the whole time, because it takes a little bit longer than probably you would like, what I did was I went ahead and I made a little outline for myself. So I went ahead and I wrote my transition to close, my restated thesis, my remind the subtopics, and my final thought. And so what we're going to do is I'm going to use this, I'm going to cut and paste, I'm going to use this and put it right into my Google Doc. So here was my example essay in The Most Dangerous Game. I've got my intro and body paragraph, a couple body paragraphs. Now, of course, you want to have at least 3 body paragraphs, hopefully more, but 3 is good solid, so a total of 5 paragraphs. Okay, so I want to start with this transition to close. Now, the transition to close, you want to use a transition word so the reader knows that your essay is coming to an end here. So what I do is, I'm just going to copy and paste here some things, is I'm going to use, and you can use you have many different choices that you can use, but just simply stated, I'm going to say to conclude. So to conclude, Richard Connell's The Most Dangerous Game is a short story that has stood the test of time because of its universal theme. So the transition closes. Here's the transition. I'm coming to an end here. I'm reminding the reader of the work of literature that I was analyzing, and I say a general statement about that work of literature. And that's a good way to kind of transition into that conclusion. So now the reader knows that I'm coming to an end here. Okay, now the next thing I want to do is I want to restate my thesis. Now, if I scroll back up here, I can find my thesis here at the end of the introduction, right? All theses should come at the end of the introduction. So I say in my introduction here is the last sentence, the most dangerous game, Richard Connell's theme in The Most Dangerous Game is that the only way man can truly learn empathy is through direct experience. So that's the first way I say it. Now, of course, you can go back and you can check out this document later on. There's the link on Schoology to check this out. I'll show you at the end. So you can always see how I do it. So that's my first thesis. So now, here at the end, I'm going to go back to my outline. And here's where I wrote my restated thesis. I'm going to copy this. I'm going to pop it in. Now, of course, now you've worked on your outline so hard, you want to use that outline to help you put together your rough draft and, moving into your final draft. All right, so now I say for my restated thesis, throughout the text, it becomes very clear that Ransford changes his perspective on hunting due to his encounters with General Zaroff, proving that all human beings cannot show true empathy without actual experience. So you now see the wording is obviously different from the introduction. The idea is still the same, but now I sound much more confident. And now that I've proven through all my evidence and so forth in the body of my essay, now that I've proven it, I can sound really confident at the end. And that's what I'm shooting for here with the restated thesis. Now, I can't encourage you enough, especially if you're someone who's struggling, to use those resources that I have on the Schoology page. Watch this video, the other videos again, pause it, take a look at the link where I have this example essay, see how I did it, and what you could do is really you can stop, pause the video, and then give it a shot yourself. And I think that will really help you moving forward. Especially if you're comparing the first thesis that I wrote in the intro to this thesis, because the restated thesis in the conclusion ends up being very important. Okay, I'm going to pop back now to my outline, and so I know that now I need to remind my reader of my main subtopics. So I'm going to copy this, I'm going to use my outline to put it back, pop it into my conclusion on my Google Doc. So here I say, now I want to say, I just told my reader in my restated thesis what the theme was, what I saw as the theme. So now I'm going to say this theme is proven based on the dialogue between Ransford and Whitney at the onset of the story. Now remember, that was the basis of my first body paragraph. Ransford's discussion with Zaroff leading to the hunt, and that would have been my second body paragraph. And finally, Ransford's terrifying experience in the jungle as the hunted. And that would have served as my third and final body paragraph. And so basically when I'm doing this one sentence is I'm summing up the main points of my 3 body paragraphs. And really you could use your topic sentences, look back at your topic sentences that you use for those body paragraphs to help you put together one solid sentence that reminds the reader of those subtopics you brought up earlier. And now I'm ready to move on to the final part of the conclusion, and I'm almost done here, so I'm pretty excited. I've been working on this essay for far too long. That's probably how we feel as well. Schlenker, shut up about the essay, will you? So we're almost done. We're almost there. So I'm going to take a look back at my outline, and here I have my final thought. So I'm going to use my outline again to help with my essay, because that's why we did the outline. Okay. So now here, I'm going to try to say something very strong and get you to really think about my essay and think about like the bigger picture of life. This is really like that so what? So what am I supposed to gain from this? What was the point in this author offering this theme to the reader? So I say, it might be 2 sentences, it might be 3 sentences. I got some typos in here, which totally happens. Okay. That's a quick right click. If you get a squiggly red mark, quick right click and a fix. Google will help you out. Don't let your essay have a bunch of red squiggly marks. As a little side note. Okay, so I say here, The Most Dangerous Game has stood the test of time because this message of empathy through experience is a universal frustration all people, no matter race, culture, skin color, or age. Okay, that's not bad. So here I'm trying to really like appeal to everybody, it's a little bit sappy, right? So it stood the test of time because of this message of empathy. And I'm trying to get the idea across that like this it's a universal frustration that we all human beings, regardless of race, culture, skin color, or age, really become frustrated with and struggle with over the course of our lives. If only everybody could learn empathy through literature, then we wouldn't have all this violence. And that's really what I want to get to at the end with my final statement here. So my final thought. Here we go. One can only hope and pray in a world filled with senseless brutality and violence that people can learn these lessons of perspective and empathy through characters in literature rather than terror, pain, and suffering. And bam! There it is. All right, this is the so what. This is what I gained. This is really what my essay was about. This is what I saw as such a powerful theme from the text that I had to write about it. And so there's the so what. And my hope, of course, is that if I end with something strong like this, then when my reader puts down my essay, they stop and they think about it more than just putting it down and saying, thank God that's over. We don't want that, right? We want them to be thinking about it and say, yeah, that guy got me. That was good. Okay, so those are the 4 parts of a good, solid conclusion. You know, this is pretty good for length. You know, I say you don't want to think about length too much, but really the idea is that if you do these 4 things, transition to close, you restate your thesis, you remind the reader of those subtopics, and you hit him with that final thought at the end. If you can do those things, you should be able to communicate a really good message. Okay, it's all about being a good communicator and finishing with a good conclusion so that your reader can really understand what it is you just tried to prove over the course of your essay. All right, and that's it. And you're happy, and I'm happy because we're done, and we've got to a good point, and you worked really hard, and you're proud of what you put together here, and you went through the steps of the writing process, and now you can breathe a huge sigh of relief. And you can say, Schlenker, finally get off my back about this essay. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just really trying to get you guys to do the best work that you possibly can. And all I ask is that you do something that you're proud of. Okay, I'm going to wrap it up here. I just want to remind you that on our Schoology page, that was a little discussion board action there. On our Schoology page, in the theme folder on the bottom, and it doesn't matter what class you're in because all of them look the same with this theme folder. I don't know why it says this most complete at the bottom, but in the theme folder, you can find the videos, and I'll post this video in here as well. And then you can also find this example theme paper of the Most Dangerous Game. So you can go back and you can take a look at it, use it as an example. Again, like I said, I think it's in your best interest, you know, to watch the video again, pause it while it's fresh in your mind, and get down your ideas. And pause the video and say, okay, now I gotta write my restated thesis. Okay, so this is how Schlenker did it. This is how I'm gonna do it. And if you really think about it like that, and then you get to the point where you can just do it without even thinking about it, but let me help you to model some things and so you can find success. All right, my friends. It's been real. I hope that you enjoyed this 3-part series of writing a good and organizing a good, solid essay. All right, my friends. Peace out.